having hair is overrated. I'm just gonna say it. It's overrated. Glad I have a fairly normal shaped head, but thank God I have a normally shaped head when you've got something like this sticking out of you, right? Anyway, let's talk about the Seattle Mariners. We're going to start our preview series. We are going to do it just like we did last year. We are going to do the pitchers will be for subscribers only, and by subscribers I mean Mile Y enthusiasts. It's $4.99 to join. Would really appreciate it if you do. I totally understand if you have no interest, but it would help me out a lot, and it's there. It's absolutely there. Let me know if you need a link, and then we'll do the hitters. Everybody will get a chance to see the hitters, but we're going to start as we have the last couple of years with these guys played for the Seattle Mariners. I didn't prepare any notes or anything like that. I'm just literally going to look at Baseball Reference and go down the list of guys who appeared in fewer than 40 games for the Seattle Mariners and talk about what they did. Zach Pop played for the Seattle Mariners. I don't think it went very well. If I remember correctly, it didn't go very well. There was a time he was a pretty good little reliever. He's just the definition of organizational depth now. Rylan Thomas got in 3 games. He had 10 plate appearances. He went 1 for 8. I think he's got a chance to be a decent backup outfielder. The type of guy who's like right on the bottom of your 40-man roster, that 38, 39, 40 guy. And, he'll be at risk for sure when the Mariners add the 40-man guys, but he's a guy. He played for the Seattle Mariners in 2025. Samad Taylor, 4 games, 9 plate appearances, 1 hit, and 8 at bats. Samad Taylor, a useful player to have in an organization, not a guy you really want on your roster, but the type of guy that when an injury happens, and you never root for injuries, obviously, but the type of guy that it's like, oh, it's nice that we have this guy because he can play the corner outfields. He can play second base. He could probably hold his own at third and short if you absolutely had to. Center field, blah, blah, blah. Decent little runner. Guessing he'll be back with Seattle next year, but another guy who's definitely a candidate to be off the 40-man roster. I'm recording this on Sunday. If some of these guys are already off the 40-man roster, it is what it is. Leody Taveras. That didn't work out. And I will take the L on this one. It's not like I have anything to do with their roster moves, but I was really happy with this pickup. Didn't work out at all. Did not work out at all. I was shocked he got a guaranteed deal already with, I believe, Baltimore. $2 million, something like that, according to Jonathan Heyman. I thought he'd help. He didn't. He didn't at all. I think he had one big hit, like a homer to not win a game, but to put them up late. But outside of that, he was garbage. He was bad defensively. He was bad at the plate. He had a 470 OPS. He's only 26. There's time for him to become a thing. Ryan Bliss. I really liked what I saw from Ryan Bliss defensively in a very short amount of time. I was just looking at this. I'm shocked it was only 11 games. It seemed so much more than that, but I'll be curious to see what the plan is with him. Another guy who's only 25. Like, there's time for him to develop into a thing. Not sure it's with Seattle, but he's the type of guy that I would be looking to turn into that next Dylan Moore. That next guy who can play everywhere. Hopefully doesn't go 0 for 80 in the middle of a year. Should we include Dylan Moore in this? Yeah, let's just go ahead and do it. I know he played in a lot of games, but he's not here anymore, and he won't be back. Dylan Moore, I wish you nothing but luck, buddy. It worked out for a while, and then it really, really didn't. It really, really didn't. And it sucks that the Mariners were too patient with making that move. And I won't be shocked if Dylan Moore has a couple more solid years. It's worth pointing out that Dylan Moore is actually a little older than you think. He's 32. I don't know how old you think he is, but I think some people assume he's a real young guy, and 32 is young compared to me. but 32 is not really young in baseball baseball terms. I would guess that he gets a non-roster addition somewhere, maybe a major league deal, but didn't work out. Didn't work out very well at the very end of that year. Is there anyone else here that we want? Donovan Solano, that didn't work out either, although after a horrible start, he had some nice moments for them. He had some nice moments. Thankfully, it wasn't a deal breaker that he was the only roster move that Seattle made in that offseason. A little bit of roster, maybe you get home field advantage and blah, blah, blah. Wish him luck. Would guess that he has maybe a year or two left. I'll save a video for Rivas. I'll save a video for Robles. Oh, Harry Ford. Held his own. Probably the most fascinating player to follow in this offseason for me is outside of the guys that they need to resign. What do you do with Harry Ford? He's not your starting catcher. There'll be a guy who has a long way to go before we do a video. By the way, those of you who are new, we go in order of wins above replacement, but negative. So probably be a little bit before you see videos on Julio and Cal. It seems like a waste to have him in the Mitch Garver role. This is a guy who's still only 22. He's probably your most realistic trade chip, but a type of guy that you move and you better get something real good for it. Real good. I'd use him in the outfield. I get that he's a solid backstop. Solid. Not spectacular. Solid. I also understand that Cal Raleigh someday could be a permanent DH or first baseman just because of how much he's caught there. It's not next year. It's not the year after that. Could be soon. The Salvador Perez plan absolutely is a realistic thing for Cal Raleigh. So it's a risky one. Can't really take anything from 6 at-bats. But he's got a future, I think. I think he's still the prospect I feel the most comfortable of the big prospects training. But I do think he has a future. All right. Those are the hitters. Well, kind of in one pitcher. I sorted by games, and it went to standard batting, of course, because I'm an idiot. Let's take a look at the pitchers. Let's see. I think Logan Evans deserves his own video, don't you? What do you mean you're not responding? I'll save one for Caleb Ferguson. Caleb Ferguson will be at the end of this video. Jackson Kowar. Showed some decent moments. That stuff is still sick. The command is still so bad. So bad. I think he could become a decent medium leverage reliever. I don't think he's ever a high leverage guy. But would it shock me if Jackson Kowar next year is the Justin Topa or the Eduard Bizardo or the player of that ilk? I know there's another one that I'm just not thinking of. Colin Snyder? Yeah, I think there's a possibility. It's just hard to rely on. Speaking of Colin Snyder, he was better than the numbers suggest. A lot better than the numbers suggest. You know, he didn't live up to what he was in 2024, which doesn't surprise me. Relievers have a lot of volatility. A ton of volatility. Really wish I would have done pitchers first, by the way. It's more exciting to talk about hitters at the end, but I'm certainly not redoing this. I still think he's got a shot to be a pretty solid reliever. Maybe not with Seattle, but I do think he's got a shot. Casey Lawrence, you beautiful man. You beautiful, beautiful man. I hope you come back to Seattle and have some more adventures between Seattle and Toronto. Would Casey Lawrence have gotten a ring from Toronto? Maybe. Taylor Saucedo. Kind of over that one. And it's nothing against Taylor Saucedo. this is now a couple of years of being a well below average pitcher. Keep him as the organizational depth. He just doesn't have the stuff to be much more than a second lefty or a guy that you use in low leverage situations. Go Dogs. I love how much he loves Seattle. I think he's an awesome dude. I think anyone who is sending him threats should have bad things happen to them, but that's a threat. Don't threaten people. Luke Jackson. That went better than I thought it would go. I'll be curious to see what his market looks like. He's only 33. He's had success in this league. He was fine. I wouldn't mind bringing him back on a very and it's not about the money. I don't care what John Stanton spends, but it's about the guaranteed money means guaranteed roles. And I don't know if I want a guaranteed role for Luke Jackson if he does come back. Luis F. Castillo, oh boy. Boy, was that situation frustrating. I know it was only 2 starts, but they should have never happened. They never should have happened. If they would have lost the division because they started Luis Castillo twice, but they didn't. Thank goodness they didn't. Juan Burgos played for the Seattle Mariners. Good luck in Arizona. I believe that's where you got traded. Gregory Santos. Some of you guys might remember that I had question marks about Gregory Santos after that trade, and I don't think those have been answered, at least not in a positive way. Org depth. Absolutely just org depth. He's only 25, and you see the stuff. You see that he should be able to miss bats. He does not. He didn't even in that really impressive year with the White Sox. It wasn't a bunch of strikeouts. It's very, very, very weak contact. But when you can't throw strikes, it's really hard to trust a guy like Gregory Santos as much more than low leverage stuff. Troy Taylor. Had high hopes for Troy Taylor this year. It didn't work out. Still think Troy Taylor is going to be a good reliever. Still think Troy Taylor has a chance to be a very solid part of the Seattle Mariners. Be curious if he gets that shot. We see this all the time where you see a guy who is a high-ranked relief prospect who ends up being nothing, beyond nothing, because there's such a low floor for any relief prospect, any of them. Like Andres Munoz was considered one of the best relief prospects, and his ceiling was very high, but the floor was still incredibly low. It's one of the reasons San Diego, on top of this AJ Preller being a crazy person, was willing to move a guy like that. And it's why you see relief prospects who think, man, that guy, he sure looks like a future high leverage guy, get moved, and then you totally forget about him. Troy Taylor could be that. I hope not. I really liked what I saw from Troy Taylor in 2024, and I'm hoping it was just some injury stuff, and he's a big helper for them in 2026, but zero guarantee. Jesse Hahn. I vaguely remember Jesse Hahn getting into a baseball game. Sarin Lau. I liked what I saw from him. I know you take a look at an 8.1 ERA, 3 1/3 innings. I thought he showed some pretty good stuff. He's no longer with the organization. I think it's worth pointing out that he was a guy who was a position player at one point, makes the move over, and did a pretty nice little job. I mean, he showed some decent stuff. I don't remember who he plays for now, and that's okay. Jose Castillo, he played for the Mariners. Blas Castano, I remember that one just because MLB debut, org depth guy. Brandon Garcia, obviously traded in. Now, was Brandon Garcia in the Josh Naylor trade, or was he in the Gino Suarez trade? This is going to be a fun game to play over the years. Which trade was which guy in? I'm pretty sure that Brandon Garcia was in the Gino Suarez trade. I'm going to pause real quick and see if I'm right. Oh, I hope I'm right. He was in the Josh Naylor trade. He was in the Josh Naylor trade. Yeah. I tried. I really tried. Mariners, by the way, what a great trade that was. I mean, it worked out. And then some, and then they gave up guys who were just not important parts. I mean, they could develop into good guys for the Diamondbacks, Astros. But you make that trade 11 times out of 10, and then you see the results and make it 24 more times somehow. And then Jonathan Diaz, he'll probably be back next year. He's not good. He's not very good, but he is the type of guy who's going to get to pitch forever because he's left-handed. And what I would recommend to everyone is to put a baseball in your child's left hand as soon as possible. Because the worst thing that happens is they become left-handed, which it makes cutting things difficult. I'm left-handed, for those who don't know. The scissors thing's a little backwards. It takes a little while to teach them stuff. I still can't tie my shoes the normal way. I have to do the 2 loops, and then I can't do the way. It doesn't work. Anyway, those are the guys who played for the Seattle Mariners. You have to do one every year. And then, well, there's more guys who played, but those are the guys who played and you'll forget about. But now we have video proof that they played for the Seattle Mariners. I was kind of wondering if there'd be like any shine off the dome. Nope. All right. A lot more videos coming, guys. And real quick, thank you to Simply Seattle, the very best in Seattle sports gear. Should have done it in the middle video, but they love me so much that they understand. I love you all. See you soon. Lots of stuff coming. Bye.